The beautiful Irish hills of Michigan have always been a favorite when it comes to destinations for a vacation. And tonight, 33 drivers from the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards hope to relax in the Michigan 200 Victory Lane.
The Motor City, this hard-working, blue-collar town, has defied the laws of science to create finely tuned automobiles in the mass quantity. 1967, just west of Detroit, Michigan native Lawrence Lopatin broke ground for a racetrack that could be described in one word: speed. Today, ARCA teams assemble their machines for battle at the superspeedway.
Got a little bit loose.
He's going to take the checkered flag.
High speed and high drama. Next at Michigan.
The ARCA teams are into the meat of a 20-race schedule for 2016. They're competing in 8 races during a 10-week stretch. Hi, everybody. I'm Ray Dunlap along with Jim Trado. So nice to have you with us here in the beautiful Irish Hills. We're getting ready to go. Obviously, things a little bit off schedule today here at this racetrack. We had a couple of issues in ARCA qualifying earlier. They decided to cancel qualifying, and they have set the field by practice points. Jim, I'll tell you what, it was a crazy day at Michigan, to say the least.
And there's a full day of practice yesterday without incident, but today things changed in a hurry for qualifying. 3 different cars finding trouble. Nick Higdon here in the 08 machine spinning here. Not a lot of track time yesterday. Nick was one of the few that did not get a lot of track time. The car was being finished. This is Myatt Snyder. He was the fastest car in practice. He had an issue in qualifying as well.
So they set the field by practice, and we saw Bo Lamastis, another guy who had a bit of a problem earlier today. We had live Xfinity practice this afternoon. That's why ARCA decided not to continue with that. But the guys are getting onto the grid right now and ready to go. You know, we were at Pocono a week ago, and I said that they had 20 consecutive different winners there. It became 21, and I said there's no other track in the country that had that same numbers. Guess what? I screwed that one up because it's the same here at Michigan. We're going to have a 21st different winner today, so my question to you is, who should we watch?
That's 21 consecutive different winners, and I believe the point leader, Chase Briscoe, it's his turn, it's his time. The kid's fast, second quick in practice here, never been on a track like this before the mid-May test. I think Briscoe is going to get it done today.
Another guy I'd like to keep an eye on today, Dalton Sargent. He's going to be very fast in that number 55. The cars are on the grid, and as we said, Myatt Snyder was very, very fast. He will be our starter, but they have decided they are going to go to the tail of the field before we get this thing started this afternoon. So as the drivers are getting ready to get into the cars, we will get our starting lineup set for you here in just a little bit and ready to go racing here at Michigan. You know, it's been an interesting meat of the schedule, as I said. We've got Pocono last week, and we had a chance to get those composite cars on the big track for the very first time. We come here to Michigan, a wide-open, big, super fast track, and then 2 short tracks coming up. So these guys know they got some work to do.
6 straight weekends of racing. More importantly, Pocono last week to Michigan this week. These teams are working hard at the very same race cars they raced last week. Many of them have the same ARCA Ilmor 396 engines in them, but they've done a lot of work under the car to change the balance of the aerodynamics for this high-speed racetrack.
Well, we want to get you to the General Tire driver profile. Today, we are featuring Kyle Weatherman.
I'm Kyle Weatherman from St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm driving the Lyra Motorsports Ford Fusion. Well, we started in go-karts when I was 8, but with Brian Main, obviously, and my dad and all them, and my brother. So we started there, and then, you know, we moved up to the Bandoleros, Legend cars, did a little bit of IMCA modifieds, and, now we're here in the ARCA series, having fun. Dad's obviously, the backbone to Clayton and I's, racing career. Without him, it wouldn't be possible. But, hopefully we can compete at all of them this year. We're going for the championship, so really excited for that. And, this series is great. I really think we have, the full package. I think, I think we have a little work to do on the short tracks, but other than that, I think we're going to be in really good shape for sure.
Kyle Weatherman, a guy who picked up his first win a year ago at the road course in New Jersey, and he making his first start today here at the Michigan International Speedway. Let's take take a look at our starting lineup for tonight's race as we'll look at our General Tire starting lineup here for this action. As we said, the number 22 of Myatt Snyder was our fastest based on practice, so they would be the one to roll off from the very front row, but now they are going to go to the tail. So that'll put Chase Briscoe in the number 1 spot.
I mean, these are combined practice speeds from yesterday. These teams were hard at it. There were 2 afternoon sessions. More importantly, it was in a very cloudy, overcast condition, so there are some question marks. Although they were fast yesterday, will they stay fast today in this heat on this slick racetrack?
See, Brady Boswell had some good runs lately. Tom Hessert, the driver with the most wins in this field of all the competitors running today. And you see A.J. Fike, a guy who picked up a win on the dirt a year ago.
Great to see the return of Travis Braden as well. Winner last year in his initial start in the ARCA Racing Series on the grid here at Michigan in the 01.
Chad Finley, a local driver, and as you heard from Kyle Weatherman, he's in the Lyra Motorsports number 58. That's row number 7. Nick Higdon, you saw he had that spin earlier, but not much damage on that car.
Sarah Korniching's going to have an in-car camera for us with us. She raced here tonight last year. Should be a great line for her.
Josh Williams picked up his first win this season. As we look back through the field, you'll see where your favorite driver is starting. 33 drivers in all will start the race today. The number 69 of Will Kimmel was here, but was not able to compete. They had a broken valve spring in the engine, did not have a spare with them, so they will be listed as our 34th starter today here at Michigan. That's a look at your General Tire starting lineup here at this racetrack. The guys are getting ready to go. It takes a few minutes for them to roll these cars out, get the drivers in position, and they'll be telling us that they are ready to go. We see the pace cars are down there. Again, it is a 200-miler today. That is 100 laps here around this Michigan International Speedway. And then once again, we have had 20 different consecutive winners here. We'll have a new one today. But right now, we need to go trackside for our pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Michigan State Police present our nation's colors. Please remain standing as ARCA Chaplain Caleb Higgins offers our invocation.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe. Let's pray. God, we thank you for allowing us to be here tonight to enjoy this race with our friends and our family. We thank you for all the blessings that you have given to us, Lord. And we thank you for the men and the women that are protecting our freedoms so that we can be here tonight. I ask for the protection of the drivers, the teams, the officials, and our fans. And it is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Here to perform the Canadian National Anthem, followed by the Star-Spangled Banner, please welcome Michigan International Speedway's own Lisa Bascom.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets wrecked there, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Detroit is known as Hockey Town, sometimes called the Motor City, but this weekend it's home of great stock car racing. When we come back, it's the Corrigan Oil 200 from the Michigan International Speedway.
At Menards.
Back at the Michigan International Speedway, absolutely picture-perfect day here as we get ready for the ARCA Racing Series 200 from Michigan. The cars are on the grid now, drivers inside, and they're ready to go racing. 200 miles coming up, and now we need to go back down trackside to get it all started.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal from Corrigan Oil, Jeff Bailey.
Drivers, start your engines.
Engines have fired here. We'll have 4 good in-cars for you today. But first, we want to talk about our Scott Brands Rookie of the Race. And today, that's the number 77 of Chase Briscoe.
It's not a coincidence I picked this young man. He's leading the points as a rookie. His best finish this year in 7 races is a 3rd at Talladega. This is a short track sprint car kid that runs around bull rings all over the Midwest. He's really been impressive, Ray.
And all the guys in the garage continue to say to us, I can't believe that he hasn't won a race yet. 3 poles this season, and now we need to take a look at the points, and guess who's at the very top of that?
And it is consistency. He and his crew chief, Chad Bryant, 2-time Cometic and defending Cometic crew chief Rookie of the Year, have clicked on something. The young man's feedback's getting better. Josh Williams steadily in 2nd now. Tom Hester on the surge, I'd say, up to 3rd.
Top 5 guys still very much in this points race. Briscoe the leader after 7 events. Take a look at our season so far. It all started off back at Daytona. John West Townley took that Zaxby's Chevrolet to victory lane. And then we had 4 consecutive first-time winners. Finally, Josh Williams gets to victory lane. Venerini Motorsports brings Christopher Bell. Then off to Talladega. It was a great finish as Gus Dean won by just inches. Myatt Snyder, in his first ever career start at Toledo, got a win. Then Parker Kligerman dominated over in New Jersey on the road course. And our last victory a week ago, Grant Enfinger used full mileage to get it to victory lane in Pocono.
Eugenics.com.
As you saw before we went to break, 7 races this season and 7 different winners in the ARCA Racing Series. Chamber of Commerce weather today. Earlier in the day, it was cloudy and overcast, but now we have bright sunshine with 80 degrees. Humidity is very nice. Real light wind. Perfect day for racing.
Hottest it's been all weekend, though. They tested here mid-May, as we mentioned. Cloudy yesterday, hot today.
We did not have a Menards Pole Award today because that qualifying did get canceled. As we said, based on practice speeds, it puts Myatt Snyder at the front of the field. But his crew chief, Paul Andrews, has decided they will roll that 22 to the back of the field when we get ready to go green here.
And that is a backup car, Ray. That car was here in test mode in May. Myatt got to drive it, but it wasn't the car he wanted to race with here this weekend.
You see our General Tire starting grid at the top of the screen. Right now, we want to show you our onboards today. The number 2, driven by Sarah Cornett Ching, qualified 18th. That's the Dickies Toyota, and she's making just her 2nd start of the season.
On the big tracks is where she's going to put the focus. She'll have to be the driver that's driving on the General Tire onboard. Kyle Weatherman, he'll start 14th today. This young man, just 18 years of age, not old enough to race here last June, but he certainly has the desire and the talent on this big track.
Brandon Jones drives car number 8. That'll be carrying our Valvoline onboard today. It's a Chevrolet. He'll start 4th today. Brandon Jones finished 3rd in our most recent race when we went at Pocono.
And when you look at Chase Briscoe, we'll have a great look at him. This young man is focused. He's going to be wearing our Scott Brand Products onboard camera. We'll have a great view of how much he tugs at that wheel. He does not want to turn right to get in that corner for all it's worth.
Jim and I are up in the booth today, but we've got a couple of pros down on pit road covering the action. Heather DeBoe and Matt Yoakum will be covering all of what's going on, and we want to start out with Matt.
Ray Dalton Sargent continues to impress, yet to finish outside the top 6 in 2016. And when you look at this weekend, he's already got impressive speed. He was 3rd in practice. And as you mentioned, due to Snyder going to the back, Dalton will move that entire 55 and that inside line up to the point. He also told me he was impressed with just the gains they've made, closing that gap with the Venerini Toyotas to the speed in the Cunningham Fords. He thinks it's going to really show up in long-run speed. But the big question yet to be answered, just how this racetrack will change as we race later into the evening. Now to my good friend, Heather DeBoe.
Hey, thanks, Matt. Another big question that needs to be answered is the composite body cars versus the still body cars. One driver you might want to keep your eye on that is in one of those still body cars is the 01 of Travis Braden. Now, Travis is making his first start here at Michigan, and this is also his first start this season. He does have a very stout record behind him, though. He has 3 ARCA starts, and he's finished in the top 10 all 3 times, including a win at his debut at Lucas Oil Raceway. When I spoke to him earlier, he said he's interested to see how these composite body cars will race against the still body cars. So keep an eye on that 01. He's rolling off 10th today.
Well, thank you, Heather. Same car, same engine, so those guys ready to go to see what it'll be like on the big track. Here's our track description. And, Jim, when we look at that, 18 degrees in the corner, but this is a lightning fast track and really wide, lots of room to go.
And the drivers told me that in qualifying, they tried to flat-foot it. There was a limited number of cars that got out before we had to move on from qualifying, but burping the gas and not getting all the way out of the throttle is something new to this young field of drivers we have here. In race conditions, they had some in practice yesterday. Not a lot of side-by-side practicing going on, so there's a lot of unknowns right now as we're about ready to go green.
We see that pit window right at about 40 laps, estimating 2 pit stops today. A lot of that will play out in the strategy. And we had a fuel mileage race at Pocono. You don't normally hear that, but Grant Enfinger stretched it, and he was able to get to that start-finish line right before he ran out of fuel. We'll see if anybody today can play that strategy game from the crew chief on the pit box.
Little Alexander Rossi-inspired move there from winning the Indy 500, doing just that, extending it. He actually made up 3.5 laps of fuel to go to the distance and do the burnout at the end. Amazing.
I like both of the cars that our pit reporter said to keep an eye on. Also, we'll have to watch Myatt Snyder as he brings that Louisiana hot sauce number 22 from the back of the field. I have a feeling he'll still be fast, even though they are in a backup. Pace car is rolling down pit road right now, and we are getting ready to go racing here at Michigan. On the outside is the 77 big-time Ford of Chase Briscoe. Dalton Sargent down to the inside, and the green flag is out here. We're ready to go racing. Briscoe using that momentum on the high side. Looks like he is going to be able to do it and bring the number 8 of Brandon Jones with him. Sargent, coming out of turn number 2, will drop back to 3rd position.
Our top 3 drivers never saw this racetrack, top 4 for that matter, never saw this racetrack until they got here in May for a test. The guy in 5th, Brady Boswell, wasn't even here in May for the test. Got his first laps yesterday. What an impressive start with these young, fast drivers. Oh, we have a spin, Ray. Looks like the 51 of Chad Finley has gone around.
Oh, and he's right at the entrance to pit road, but it appears that he will not make contact with anything. So far, the ARCA officials have said we're good to go. Stay in green right now. We'll see if Finley can get that thing fired and get rolling.
Auto Valley Toyota just lost it off of turn number 4. It looks like he broke free. The banking does kind of decrease as the corner widens and extends, and Finley now getting the car rated.
So Finley will come back to the racetrack. He is way down on pit road entrance, so the officials say we can keep on going. Briscoe now has really stretched out a lead. Check that out. He's got about 15 car lengths on 2nd place.
What to do at 190 miles per hour when there's a car next to you with a composite body that's not been on a track this large with this much speed? Yes, they raced Pocono last weekend, Ray, but they are on the gas pedal for 98% of this racetrack. That is an impressive run by Brandon Jones in that yellow and white number 8. That car is fast, and he finally proved to Dalton Sargent, let's single file this thing out for a little while.
Kyle Benjamin back there in third right now. That number 28 car has, that's in fourth position as he's behind Dalton Sargent. Another guy I want to keep my eye on today. Those guys from Rainier had a very fast car at Pocono.
Dalton Sargent between those Rainier racing with MDM teammates. Dalton Sargent racing for Venturini Motorsports. His crew chief is Billy Venturini, a driver in this series, second generation driver. This driver, Dalton Sargent, and his crew chief, Billy Venturini, have found something. They're clicking. They communicate very, very well for Dalton, who's going to race 15 times this year in this series.
You know, it's interesting. We showed those videos of the victory lane. 7 different winners this year, but a real nice mixture of teams in there. Cunningham Motorsports, the only team with 2 victories so far this season.
And it's amazing to know they've done it with 2 different drivers. And there's another driver in the field today, Myatt Snyder's racing with. Chase Briscoe, he's Mr. Consistency. He's not one of the Cunningham drivers that has won this year.
Briscoe out front, and when we saw testing here at Michigan a few weeks ago and practice, that 77 and the 22 were certainly class of the field. We'll see how it plays out today. As we learned at Pocono a week ago, the fastest car doesn't always win the race.
Speaking of Austin Cindric, who had a very fast car but made one more pit stop later than our race winner Grant Enfinger. It was a great challenge of almost tortoise versus hare. Enfinger backing off his pace to maintain fuel. And Cindric making up 7 seconds in the final 13 laps to get to his rear bumper, but no further.
See that number 15 having a good battle with Travis Braden. Once again, as Heather said, that is a steel body car in the 0-1. Those guys racing for 6th position back there, and we've got a car that's having issues.
Con Nicolopoulos on the inside was already down pit road once.
A little bit of smoke there. Hopefully the spotter will tell him you may want to come to the pit area and see what the problem is with the 06. Another one of our Michigan drivers is Con. He from Columbus, Michigan.
Chad Finley, also from Michigan. Come on, guys.
Yeah,
represent
really.
the Wolverine State. Here we go. Nice battle here. I mentioned that 28 car of Kyle Benjamin, 2-time winner in ARCA, but always on short tracks. The young man was not old enough to race here in this series. Really impressive here yesterday and now today.
Now check this out. Boy, is there a big change in that differential. The 77 had gone way out, 15 car lengths, and all of a sudden Brandon Jones has him in his sights. He's closing in car number 8.
Of all the things Brandon Jones has done, he's never raced here at Michigan. Last weekend, first time at Pocono, raced the ARCA race. The next day, the Xfinity Series debut. Top 10s in both. He's opened that parlays into today. He's in the Xfinity race tomorrow here at MIS.
Brandon Jones is a 2-time winner driving that Valvoline car, and he has certainly closed that lead down on our number 77 at Chase Briscoe, who runs out front here at Michigan. Back at Michigan, coming up on lap 11 of 100 today for the ARCA Racing Series 200. 77 is our leader. That is Chase Briscoe in a Ford, and that differential has certainly changed. The number 8 of Brandon Jones right up there, but we had a really good move while we were in break. That number 28 of Kyle Benjamin was able to go past the number 55. You see, he drops to the bottom of the track. There's Dalton Sargent, and just takes a little bit of air off of the backside of that car. The number 28 started 5th today, and he has moved up into 3rd position. And for more on the number 55, let's go back down trackside and check in with Matt Yoakum.
Ray, his crew chief, Billy Venturini, he knows the trends here at MIS and what to expect during different sections of this race. He told Dalton Sargent another variable for the first maybe 5 or 6 laps is going to be working out the Sprint Cup rubber and working in that General Tire rubber into the racetrack. You'll see a swing change in balance. He has the car just too free on entry. Billy suggested just change your arc, widen it out on entry to see if that'll help the balance.
Always nice to have a former driver on the radio giving you a little bit of information.
And we mentioned there's 20 different winners. The last 10 races, 3 have come out of the Venturini camp. So they've had 3 different drivers under Billy's tutelage win here at Michigan. So that knowledge is huge for Dalton Sargent, who loves all the input and gives it back like a computer. Billy said he is so dependable, so hands-on when it comes to dissecting corners and giving feedback to his crew chief.
Obviously, that number 8 has come alive here. He is right up to within 2 car lengths of the number 77 big-time Ford. Brandon Jones closing in there with Valvoline and Menards on the side of that number 8. Look at, they got a different line through the center of the corner too.
What I like about what Brandon Jones is doing here is he's trying to find the line, but one thing he told me about the critical big bonus he got as a Richard Childress Racing NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, this week Tuesday, he got an email packet of Dartfish, which is overlap of laps after lap after lap at this racetrack. The setup sheets of the NASCAR Xfinity Series teams. He was provided all that information. And as this young man develops his driving career, he said that packet was a huge help, as well as watching a lot of video and a little bit of iRacing to get used to Michigan.
Well, and he's got a lot of help down there. Bobby Gill, obviously, with a great amount of experience, won hundreds of races across the country, and also his
Xfinity Series crew chief is here as well. Mike Hillman Jr. was on the pit road, under the hood all day yesterday. Man, surround yourself with some good people. You'll have good results.
Hillman won a couple of championships with Todd Bodine in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and those guys obviously full of knowledge helping Brandon Jones. Here is a look at Myatt Snyder. We told you about the fact that he crashed in qualifying. Now that number 22 is up to 15th position. He's going to work on A.J. Fike in car number 27.
I mentioned that day in May we had. That was Myatt Snyder's first chance to come here to Michigan. Also, another driver they brought along was Alex Bowman to kind of baseline this car. This is a steel body car. The car ahead of him, A.J. Fike, has the composite body. Just by a glance, they look a lot different. The car that wrecked in qualifying for Myatt was a composite body car. This is their backup.
For more on that, let's go back to Matt.
Ray, a great opportunity for this young man to really showcase some maturity here. Compartmentalize what took place in qualifying and wrecking his primary going to the backup. He changed his approach as far as his expectations of what he wants to get out of today. Solid top 10 finish. At this juncture would seem like a win, but he's already making his way closer to that top 10, but just trying to settle in, log laps, and especially learn here at MIS.
Obviously, the situation here is they had their testing here in the composite car. They had practice in the composite car. Now he's in a completely different vehicle, so I'm sure they'll have to work on it through the course of the day.
Beautiful thing about that May test, Myatt got laps in this race car, but he really liked what he had. Trying a little too hard, I think, in qualifying to win that pole.
So that is Myatt Snyder, our winner at Toledo, and he has gotten himself up into 15th position. Back to the front. Here's the differential from first to second.
Ooh, tight fit there, Ray.
Wow, those guys were close. They're going down the back straightaway. Can Brandon Jones close in on Chase Briscoe? We'll find out. You're watching the ARCA Racing Series 200 from Michigan. Well, it's ARCA Racing today, but we've got NASCAR action for you on FS1 throughout the course of the weekend. The Xfinity Series rolls in tomorrow for the Coyote Tractors, and that'll be starting at 1 p.m. Eastern. Then Sunday, Sprint Cup Series Racing, sponsored by Outback Steakhouse. Will Kurt Busch defend his title? We'll find out right here on FS1, and as always, you can watch it all on Fox Sports Go.
And watching this interval, Ray, I wonder if Brandon Jones may have a better race car right now. We talked about fuel mileage last race at Pocono. It does play a factor here at Michigan as well. If you have the Rabbit pushing harder than he wants to push, he can't back up the corner. He can't get slower. He knows he has a great race car, but this battle is actually now 8 seconds ahead of Kyle Benjamin. So Brandon Jones continues to put pressure on here with a Valvoline onboard car.
Right as we went to break, that number 8 had gotten right up to the rear bumper of Chase Briscoe in the 77. A little bit of lap traffic in the way, but now once again it's about 5 car lengths between our first and second place runners. Just 0.49 seconds, so he certainly knows that he's running very similar lap times, and those guys right in the groove here at this racetrack. Let's take a look back through our top 5 a little bit as we go beyond these two guys that have been running up front throughout the course of the day. Once again, Kyle Benjamin has gone from 5th position up to 3rd. That's the number 28, and he's behind this group. The 8 running 2nd. That's Brandon Jones. Differential stayed about it's a little bit closer. Here's the 28 running in 3rd right now. That is Benjamin. He's got a Chevrolet today, up 2 spots.
And that 19-year-old's been really impressive in the K-9 East Series. He made a race run last week at Pocono, finished 6th. A great effort for him on his first super speedway in ARCA.
Dalton Sargent running right behind the number 28. He is in car 55 for Venerini Motorsports. And Matt was talking at the top of the show just about how good this young man has been throughout the course of this season. Dalton Sargent didn't run the first 2 events of the year at Daytona and Nashville, but since then he has been flying And Travis Braden in car 01 started in 10th position, and Braden now up to 5th.
You know, he did Travis that tire strategy to victory at Lucas Oil Raceway last year. He was like, oh, if I could have put 4 tires on, I would have beat him. Well, guess what? He won that race. The next race he came back to, Kentucky Speedway, first big track, the young man finished second.
Matt Tifft, another guy who has gone up through the ranks here today. And we get back to Matt Kurziewski. Kurziewski driving that Ansel Menard's number 52. That's Ken Schrader Racing. And the 52 is up to 7th position.
And they did a lot of work on this race car. His crew chief is Donnie Richardson in that number 52 machine. He said they changed the entire right front geometry from Pocono, sway bars, and the aerodynamic changes underneath that race car just to get the car to handle better here at Michigan.
The 98 has gone to pit road. For more on that, back to Matt Yoakum.
Ray, he dropped from 5th to 6th, and then all the way back to 9th. He finally had to hit pit road. The water had climbed up over 250 degrees. Debris on the grill. He tried using several different cars to try to tuck in tight to change that air pressure to get the debris to fall off. It didn't. He had to come for service.
Okay, so let's mark this down. That is lap 26 that the 98 goes to the pit area. And this race has had a very green flag feel, so we'll see how that plays out.
He could actually be in the catbird seat when it comes to cycling back through, Ray. Although he just took fuel there. We'll have to wonder if indeed the tire changing may happen. These General tires have been really strong. Not a lot of wear. But as you mentioned, the higher hot temperatures here may cause more wear than these drivers and the teams have found in their 2 days of running here mid-May and yesterday.
I'm sure it's interesting to listen to the drivers talking and to the crew chiefs giving them information right now, because at 28 laps, that's the most laps anybody's run, not only in just testing but in practice. So these guys certainly getting a feel for what those cars are like on older tires and lower on fuel.
And they didn't change a lot of tires on the number 77 Big Time Ford. We're riding along with you with the Scott brand on board. This is Chase Briscoe, the race leader, who said his car is really good on long runs.
And we do have our first yellow of the day coming out on lap 28 here at Michigan. A problem on the backstretch. And the 14 has had a problem. Looks like he had a issue on that left front. That is Dustin Knowles.
That is the inner liner, right?
Yeah.
Left front went kaboom.
Tire
on the
problem.
14 of Dustin Knowles. Not a lot of track time for Dustin. Got here this morning working on this brand new race car.
From Moody, Alabama is Dustin Knowles. Has run every race this season except for Daytona, but you're right. They had a tire problem. He's on the inner liner, and a good bit of damage to that left front fender they'll have to work on when he comes to pit road. But once again, now we're under yellow, and it gives all these guys a chance to talk to those crew chiefs and say, what kind of adjustments do we need to make it a little bit better?
With this being a 100-lap race, and we're in that window of maybe we can do just one more pit stop, I believe all the leaders will be coming this time. They're getting ready. Some of these crew members on the teams are from the NASCAR garage. We see some Penske Development crew members for Cunningham Motorsports getting ready on the pit wall just there.
We had just seen the 77 go around Kyle Weatherman down the back straightaway, so Weatherman in that St. Charles Glass Ford will be the free pass and get back on the lead lap. We've had a lightning fast speed here at this track, and Chase Briscoe has lapped up to 14th position already as we're 1/3 of the way through the race today. So what a fast pace we saw this thing begin at.
And Myatt Snyder snuck ahead of a few cars. He's still on the lead lap in that number 22 original Louisiana Hot Sauce Ford. Listed right now in 11th on the lead lap.
Pit strategy will certainly play out today. We figure there will be 2 pit stops. They can go about 40 laps on fuel, so as we're coming up on lap 30 here right now, that gets you towards lap 70, towards the end of the race, before you make your final pit stop if we were to have another long green flag run.
And now that Goodyear rubber, as mentioned by Matt Yoakum, is gone, now these teams really know what they have. The uncertainties were even in qualifying. Hey, there's a long NASCAR practice before us. Could that have been a factor in those crashes?
Travis Braden in the 01, he is in 5th position right now. He'll be one of the first cars to hit pit road. We'll see here if the ARCA racing officials have opened pit road. And it is open, and here they come. So they're on the way down pit road. Let's start it off with Heather DeBow.
Yeah, guys, on the top of your screen here, Kyle Benjamin is coming in. He said he's happy with his car so far, so they will not be making any changes at this time. Brandon Jones in the 8 car is also going to be coming in. He is tight, so they will be making a couple of adjustments. They're going to do tires and fuel, and we'll send it on down to Matt.
Chase Briscoe, the leader, making his way down to his pit stall, the very end of pit road. Now his biggest hindrance, entry was good, but from center to exit, he picked up a tight condition. They're going to make a 4-tire change, make a chassis adjustment, try to work the better balance from the center to exit. He says he has to wait on it so much, out of the throttle so long, that's where he's losing most of his time.
Brandon Jones was second on the pit road as we got under this caution. He will easily be the first one off. Looks like Chase Briscoe will have a battle there with the number 28 trying to get off. We'll have to check with the ARCA officials to see who came out in second position. But we'll have a new leader when we get ready to go back to green flag racing under our first caution of the day here at Michigan. And we'll move car number 8 to the point. Back at Michigan, the ARCA 200 coming your way right here on FS1. Glad to have you with us on a beautiful Friday afternoon here in the Irish Hills. We had a change of position on pit road. Chase Briscoe came down pit road as our leader, and he rolls back out in third position. And here's a look at what happened down on the pit road. They were doing their service on the left side. Guys came over. They're getting ready to hang tires. You see that Sunoco fuel going in. They clean the front of the grill, and as they drop the car, stalled it. That's just a, 2 seconds maybe at the most?
And the pressure, you see him looking to his right. He saw the number 8 of Brandon Jones going by. That added to the anxiety of that young driver saying, I have to get up pit road. They killed the engine.
So Brandon Jones goes from second back to first, and we see the number 28 of Kyle Benjamin also advances a spot. He'll start second as we get ready to go back to racing. We've got a little bit of cleanup to do here at the Michigan International Speedway, so they've got some speedy dry right on the front. The number 14 of Dustin Knowles had a problem on the racetrack, so as we continue to clean up, we'll take one more short break for a few commercials and back after that. Baseball Night in America returns to Fox. That's tomorrow, featuring a National League Central showdown between the Cardinals and the Pirates, or one of the best rivalries in baseball as the Dodgers take on the Giants, who are in first place in the National League West. You might see Tigers and Yankees, but then we have a great game for you coming up on FS1. The Indians, who are first in the American League Central, take on the Angels. That's all tomorrow on Fox and the FS1, or you can watch it on Fox Sports Go. 8 is our leader right now, but we've had a bit of a switch around when we were on the pit road, so let's get some more updates. We'll start off with Heather.
Yeah, guys, the 01 of Travis Braden, when he came in, they were actually having issues with their air hose. It actually blew apart as I was doing my open pit whip there for you, so they had to fix that. As far as the car goes, Travis said that he's a little snug, and they took 4 tires on that pit stop. Matt?
And Heather, we've got some comers and goers. When you look at the goers, the 58 of Kyle Weatherman, he had an issue. He told the team back on lap 20 that he was down on power. Under that caution, they raised the hood. They looked, the plug wire was off. They fixed that, but he has gone all the way back to the 13th position. But one of the comers, look at the 6 of Josh Williams. Fuel only on that stop. He went from 10th all the way up to 4th.
Well, thank you, guys. Heather was talking about the 01 with their issues. They went from 5th position back to 11th as we get ready to restart. But there was also a guy who moved up a lot, and that was Josh Williams.
And what Josh did, as Matt reported, fuel only. That's a strategy because he says, hey, these tires are good enough. His crew chief, Danny Johnson, found something yesterday in practice they liked. They were thrashing at that car all weekend at Pocono. So a calmer, less than 4 pit stop mentality for Danny Johnson today. Let's do a fuel only. Let's do a gamble. Let's get some track position here at Michigan.
Got our Valvoline on board there for Brandon Jones. As we said, he has taken that 8 car to the point. He is our fastest driver right now. The 77 of Chase Briscoe is our Scott Brand Products, and he is in second.
He had been our leader, but I'm wondering who's going to pick the front row outside because of that oil dry in the front stretch. The leader has choice. Kyle Weatherman has a whole lot of time to make up here. He made multiple trips down pit road. 13th now, that General Tire onboard. We'll hope to see him slice and dice his way through.
And Sarah Cornett-Ching has our Dickies on board. She is currently in 16th position. She is the first car right now that is 1 lap down. Back to pit road, check in with Heather.
So one of the guys who was a little upset coming off pit road there was the 28 of Kyle Benjamin. Him and his team were actually arguing with NASCAR and telling him to check the video because they think they should be in front of the 77 right now of Chase Briscoe. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but that team was definitely disappointed not getting that track position.
Well, thank you, Heather. I wrote it down that the 28 was second as they rolled off, so I'm sure they are consulting that video. But the lights are off on our pace car right now, so it appears that unless they make a decision to be different, then the 77 will be listed as second, and Kyle Benjamin will be third. It was very tight as they left pit road for sure.
And the 19-year-old was 8 seconds behind Chase Briscoe and Brandon Jones. They raced off into the sunset. Well, guess what? He's right behind him here as we're about ready to go back to green after our only caution thus far in the race.
Once again, Josh Williams in that Musselman's Applesauce number 6. He'll start fourth right now. One of the cars that did not change tires at all on that pit stop. So we'll keep an eye on how that works out as he and Danny Johnson made the call to hold their tires till later in the race. 36 laps are complete of 100 right now. We have had just one caution today here at Michigan International Speedway.
And Brandon Jones, as the race leader, chose the outside line. I think there's some dirty oil dry up there still at start finisher. So from that incident, we'll see how that factors into the run to turn one.
Jones on the outside, down to the inside. It's Chase Briscoe, and we're back under green. Nice start for car number 8.
Right to the top goes the 77 of Briscoe as well.
See Travis Braden back there just a little ways in that 0-1. He is going 3 wide as they go into turn number 1. Down to the bottom goes Briscoe, going to try to take a different line than our leader did that time.
Such an impressive mix here. We have the RK Elmore 396 engine allowed in both kinds of cars, if you will, the composite body and in these steel body cars. It's amazing to see the disparity. It used to be how much money do you have, how fast you want to go. RK Elmore 396 engines can save you a bunch of money and make you competitive.
Check this out, side by side, Jim, as we're going for the lead. Briscoe down to the inside, and I believe he beat him to the line that time.
Great racing here. We saw the oil dry dust up behind Brandon Jones. No smoke out the back of that 8. Give the lead back to Briscoe.
Nice shot on board here as Chase Briscoe has our Scott Brand products on board now to the other side in the Valvoline car, and twice in a lap we've seen the lead change. Well, actually, in 3/4 of a lap.
That is quite an amazing run for Jones to muscle his way back on the outside off of turn 2 to get that lead back.
Getting a report that there's a problem with Matt Kurziewski. He was 5th, and it looks like he is off the pace a bit, rolling through the center of the corner in that Ansel Menard's Camry.
Rough break for Schrader Racing this weekend, represented by Annie Schrader. Donnie Richardson and the boys hard at work. I asked Danny how the car was. He said, pretty decent. Matt's pretty happy.
Here's a look at Kurziewski. He drops down to about the middle of the track. And we've got a problem. Myatt Snyder in the wall, and he has made hard contact. The right side of that Louisiana Hot Sauce Ford is really damaged, and he was running in 9th position, had worked his way from the back of the field. Boy, what a disappointing day today for this young man. He went to the Toledo Speedway in his first ever career start, picked up a big win, was impressive throughout the course of the day, led the most laps at Pocono, and now for the second time today, he is in the wall here at Michigan.
Travis Braden's on the inside. Braden moves up a little bit. No, nothing to do with that whatsoever. He just got off the gas or something crazy happened where he had to adjust the steering in that car. That's not the place to do it on corner exit.
Sheldon Creed did a nice job of missing this, and right after Snyder got into the wall, the number 19 of David Sear from La Jolla, California, looks like he may have gone up in smoke.
Well, what a rough break for Myatt. Such a high coming into the weekend. Practiced well yesterday. Fastest car here back in mid-May. Had a big victory at Toledo. Good run at Pocono. Whew, the highs and lows of racing.
Fastest car in practice. Came in here very, very confident that he and Chase Briscoe would have to battle out a Cunningham Motorsports run for the win, and he is in the wall and looks like his day may be done.
He wants to check things over on the right-hand side, see how bad it really is. This composite body car that he raced and practiced with and crashed in a qualifying attempt, similar, just a twitch of the wheel, and that's all it took for Myatt to go around there. He brushed the wall with the right side in qualifying. This incident here, he was in the middle of the racetrack and just got a little bit squirrely.
I believe it is 9 total races on Myatt's schedule. He ran Toledo to get clearance to come to the big tracks, and today it definitely did not end the way he wanted to. The Dickies Toyota of Sarah Cornett Ching will be our free pass, and she will get back on the lead lap running in 16th right now. So After this round of pit stops, she'll get to join the guys that are on the lead lap. Myatt Snyder is going to jump into the ambulance, take that mandatory ride to the care center, and for the second time, we're under caution here at MIS. More racing coming your way tonight right here on FS1, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Heads off to the lightning fast Texas Motor Speedway. It all begins at 8:30. Matt Crafton, a two-time winner this season and a two-time winner at Texas, and he is the points leader over there in trucks. It all starts at 8:30. Here's a look at your chase standings. Crafton, the only guy with 2 wins so far this season. Remember, 8 guys make it in to the first ever chase for the Camping World Trucks.
Under the lights at Kansas Speedway, another track kind of like Texas. William Byron got the victory. John Hunter Nemechek already a win this year. Who's on the outside knocking in? Championship contender from a year ago, Tyler Reddick, back there. 9th in points, just 4 out of the chase cutoff.
And I picked Christopher Bell to be one of the guys to watch this weekend down there. I think that Ford truck's going to be lightning fast, and if he gets a win, obviously that's going to bump him up in there. You know, the 52 of Matt Kurzieski was able to come to the pit area whenever we were under break, so let's get more from that on Matt Yoakum.
Interesting moment there for the 52 while we were under green. You saw him lose power, flip switches, possible electrical issue. He got the engine, backfired, but then he also felt like that he may have a left rear tire not exactly tight, had a bad vibration. So you can see the crew member climb inside, checking over the electrical issues there, looking at the box to see if possibly maybe some loose wires with that ignition box, but they also checked to make sure that they had the left rear on tight.
Well, thank you, Matt. We also saw the 25 of Tom Hessert on pit road, making a little adjustment there, too. So a couple of cars to keep an eye on that are usually very, very good week in and week out here in ARCA.
These are electronically fuel-controlled engines, and the EFI units themselves are bulletproof, but there are certain things that you have to make sure are right. Last race, Chase Briscoe actually, within the last 16 laps of the race, had a wire within the alternator start breaking apart, and the car started dying. So as Matt Kurzieski losing power there suddenly, everything's got to be right. Everything's got to be perfect on these race cars going 200 miles per hour for this second straight week in a row.
We mentioned that Tom Hessert, who's currently 3rd in points, came to pit road. Let's get another update from Matt.
Venturini crew taking full use of this caution ray on that 25. Broken brace on that left rear crush panel. They've used some bare bond inside, trying to tape up and seal off inside so they don't have any more issues, but that was the problem for the 25.
You can see right there, Ray, in the circle, that's not decals, that's actually tape, trying to get that back in. We also see a little chunk off the fender well. These are composite bodies, so something went awry there. That crush panel is what is like the inner fender well over the tire.
I had a number of people ask me on Twitter after last week's race, tell us more about the composite body. The bottom line here is these are flange fit pieces that go together. It's an energy absorption kind of plastic. It comes from 5-star bodies, and what it is each corner panel is different, the sides, the roof, you put them all together. But if you have damage to your race car, you don't have to put a complete side on the car. You can just change that individual fender and hook it back together, and it's designed as one of the cost-saving issues here in ARCA.
And how much Bondo have we seen on race cars to get these cars on a race weekend back together? Just take the panel off, put the panel on, and go racing. Lots of cars coming down pit road now.
Number of guys coming to pit road. We see Kyle Weatherman in that number 58. They're going to change tires. The 6 of Josh Williams was in. Remember, he was one of the guys that took fuel only back on our last caution at lap 30. We see Shane Lee in the 32 also in. There's the 98 of Brady Boswell in the Boswell Electrical Supply Chevrolet.
See Thomas Moose Prater also leaving pit road. Brad Smith. We see the 25 of Tom Hessert back on pit road, still addressing the left side of that number 25 Cometic Gaskets Toyota.
So here we go, Jim. We're right back to the strategy of Pocono. The front-running cars, they have to stay out there. They're electing track position right now, but the guys back 14th or 15th come in, make some nice adjustments, and that's going to put them on a different sequence.
And one thing to note is Josh Williams, when he stayed out, yes, the fuel-only move made sense. Now we'll see what he does on Ford Fresh Tires and see if he can get his way back through the field. They're going to bunch him up here off of turn number 4. The pace car lights are off. Jones again selects the outside to restart from on the front row.
So they're lining up 2 by 2. We see that 28 and 55 in row number 2. Chase Briscoe to the bottom side in the Cunningham Ford. A Chevrolet to the high side. That is Brandon Jones in the bright yellow car. Next row behind them, the 15 of Matt Tifft, another driver that a lot of people have said his win could be coming soon. Back to green flag racing here at Michigan on lap 45. Two by two for second. Brandon Jones ahead of the 77 of Briscoe. Kyle Benjamin does not want to give up that spot. Oh.
Ventry the inside. Dalton Sargent, left rear quarter panel. Right below the word Toyota is flapping. That's a Venturini teammate to Tom Hessert. Perhaps they set them up the same way. That left rear brace, not enough. We saw some bracing issues yesterday with these composite bodies. Some with the cowling was starting to rattle and flap. Get used to these speeds for the first time.
I was about to say we've got a new leader, but I'm not sure. I guess not.
Breathe, Ray. You got to learn how to breathe here in the booth.
Well, Briscoe was down to the very bottom of the racetrack. He was glued right down to that white line trying to make that position. And guess what? Kyle Benjamin said, I saw your little bobble there. I'm going to come up there and try to take second away from you.
Briscoe learning the price to pay. His spotter today, and every big track they run in ARCA, is Stevie Reeves. Similar background. They actually made the deal at the Chili Bowl for Briscoe to have Stevie Reeves his spotter. Stevie, of course, works with Eric Almirola on Sundays in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
Lots of Sprint Cup spotters throughout the course of the day today here with these guys. And see a little bit of a problem there for Matt Tifft. He is losing a spot.
A lot of good racing going on here. We saw cars pitting, not pitting. The 38 also came to pit road. Sheldon Creed, the 18-year-old, brand new high school graduate, really making a strong run here. A track he likes because guess what? You don't have to lift the gas pedal much. This kid's a gasser. He's an off-road truck champion. Run the Baja 1000. Knows how to get it done. This is his kind of track. Give me the gas pedal. Let me mash the gas. Let her eat.
More on Chase Briscoe. Back to Matty.
Dual coaching on the 77 of Briscoe. You mentioned that Stevie Reeves, a spotter, has a tremendous amount of experience behind the wheel of several different disciplines of race cars. And also Will Kimmel chiming in as well. Reeves told Briscoe that basically he's pinching the car down too much in the center of the corner. That's where he's giving away a lot of time to the competition. Just let the car ease through the corner. And Will Kimmel gave him a couple extra ideas on things to try here on the 77. It was just too tight in the early portion from center to exit. It's gotten better. Still need a little more work on the 77.
You can see that he's working the wheel there just a little bit when they come out of turn number 4. Back down the front straightaway right now, and that differential just 0.18 between Brandon Jones and Briscoe. So he's certainly right there. Very similar lap times.
And if you just joined us, Will Kimmel not in the race today. Had an engine issue yesterday. He's now helping the 77 team of Chase Briscoe. He has 5 starts here, but more importantly, he was the first guy to run a composite body here at Michigan last year in a super speedway test. So a lot of knowledge being played out here for Briscoe.
The number 28 of Kyle Benjamin is from Easley, South Carolina. He's currently running in 3rd. For more on him, let's go back to Heather.
Yeah, Kyle Benjamin has Lauren Rainier as his spotter, and Lauren has been in this industry forever, and he really knows what he's talking about. So right now he's coaching Kyle on his lines and everything from that to passing. He actually just told him, don't go in the corner like that. You lost a bunch of ground. You will not be able to pass him on entry. A couple laps later, he told him that corner looked really good. So Kyle's really looking for some advice from his spotter up in the stands.
Good run right here as that 15 of Tifft is down to the inside. Running with A.J. Fike, a battle for 5th, and guess what? Here comes Travis Braden. He said, you know what? I like the bottom of the racetrack. I'm going to try to take that spot with you.
Braden is really impressive down there. You think, oh, composite bodies, that's the only car you can have here in Michigan. Well, guess what? Travis Braden again is proving if I have a fast race car and an old NASCAR crew chief and Tony Furr helping me with my race car, we can get this thing done.
Tom Hessert on pit road in that Cometic Toyota. He has been down pit road 3 or 4 times. They've jacked it up, worked on the left side, but this is going to be a big problem for Hessert, who is 3rd in points. And guess what? We just found out that Myatt Snyder has been released from the infield care center, and apparently Matt has found him.
Impressive speed all weekend with Myatt Snyder in the 22, trying to compartmentalize the disappointment and frustration. So walk us through what happened. Did you slip in liquid, or did it just get away from you?
just got away from me. You know, I was trying to get a run on Travis there, and you know, I messed up. I was in it a little bit too hard and slipped out from under me. And you know, coming from short tracks, you're used to just correcting it to try and save it, but here it kind of shoots it towards the wall. So I've got to break about 10 years of habit. So it's gonna be difficult, but that's part of learning it, you know. And I hate it for my guys, you know, because that's 2 this weekend, and you know, I've never done that much in more than like a month. So yeah, just disappointed to say the least. It's not what we wanted, you know, for Cunningham Motorsports, Louisiana Hot Sauce, anybody on the crew. You know, they all worked their butts off, and they're just disappointed with how it went. I mean, we had plenty of speed in practice, just nothing to show for it in the race.
All right, thanks, Maya. Ray?
Well, thank you, Matty, and obviously tough to take for young Myatt Snyder, but he stood up, said, I made a mistake, and guess what? Those guys will go back to the shop and work on those cars, and they'll come rolling back out soon. Now, Will Kimmel will be driving that car next at our short track race, I've been told, so Will will get an opportunity to jump behind the wheel of the 22. That'll be fun to watch.
And that race car's got some great drivers that are lining up to get in that car. Myatt Snyder saw the chance and said, man, if I get a chance to run with Cunningham, I want to do it. He signed up for 9 races. Will gets, I think, 1 or 2 chances here for Cunningham Motorsports in the very near future.
A couple of short tracks coming our way after we get our race complete today here at Michigan. We'll go off to Madison, Wisconsin, and also to Winchester, Indiana. So a diverse schedule in ARCA, no question about it. We're past halfway today. You're watching the ARCA Racing Series 200 from MIS. Well, the U.S. soccer team had a big victory over Costa Rica, and they look to continue their winning ways and get a spot in the knockout round when they square off against Paraguay. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1. And as always, you can watch it on Fox Sports Go. How about this? We got stock car racing for you. We got Major League Baseball, and we've got Copa America soccer for you. FS1, your spot for sports throughout the weekend. Got a little interesting run here for the number 58 of Kyle Weatherman. We see he's racing down to the inside. Kurziewski in the Menards Toyota, the high side. And look at this. Whoa, a little loose. And I think there might have been some contact there.
Both these cars pitted under the most recent caution and fighting for real estate there. Good move by Kurziewski. Last year he won the overall Good General Tire Super Speedway Challenge. And he is a very good driver in these speedways. So him burping the gas and letting Weatherman feather it all the way out. If he needed it, he gave him room.
Nice shot from our General Tire on board. Weatherman now back up to 8th position. One of those guys that came down pit road, made a number of adjustments, and it's crew chief Sam Sham. Oh, look at this. There's that shot again of Dalton Sargent's left rear quarter panel.
That's very interesting because you'd think by now there is some aero disadvantage. Dalton Sargent's remaining in the 4th position here. Just ahead of number 15, his teammate for Venturini Motorsports, Matt Tifft, in his first of 4 starts in the Torque Toyota. You know, one thing about Matt Tifft, this kid's a quick learner. He's not been to Michigan before. Where he goes ARCA racing this year are tracks he's not been to, starting here at Michigan. But this kid, as I mentioned, a quick learner. His first ever race in ARCA, he finished 5th. His first ever race in trucks, he finished 8th at Martinsville. His first ever Xfinity Series race, a 10th at Kentucky. If you want to even go back further, 9th at Evergreen Speedway in his West Series debut. Pro Cup, he finished 9th at Rockingham in his first start. So, I mean, this kid, out of the box, has been fast no matter what he gets to drive. Smart move by himself and his father, Quentin, pairing with the Venerinis here, taking up some seat time on a track he's not been to.
If I heard right, I believe they're going to run 4 races in ARCA this season, this being the first one of the year. So Tifft with a nice run today, currently in 5th. He's about 10 seconds, though, behind our leader, and he has caught Dalton Sargent, so that's a good battle. He's trying to take away 4th position, 2 Venerini Motorsports cars right by each other. You
know, on Michigan Speedway, Venerini Motorsports cringes when they see their teammates this close together. They had a race where they actually had 2 drivers racing for the win, make contact off at turn number 2. One driver went to victory lane, the other driver not so happy just a few years ago.
All right, Jim, let's start talking strategy here a little bit. We're at 40 laps to go in today's race. We saw the 77, the 8, the 28, and the 55. Those guys all came down pit road on lap number 30. This thing has a very green flag run going to it right now. I bet those crew chiefs down there are saying, Remember, Josh Williams came in on lap 44, so he's got a big differential between our front-running cars.
And he won at Nashville Speedway, an altering pit strategy to win his first ever race and a guitar at that short track in Tennessee, the Fairgrounds Speedway at Nashville.
So very likely within the next 10 laps, we could see our front runners have to pit under green in the event that we would stay that way.
Look at Jones here, just stepping out and going. He also thought he had a car very good on long runs. You say, well, they only went 4 or 5 laps in practice. How do they know that? Well, they know that because the same set of tires was underneath this Chevrolet all day yesterday until very late in the session. Practice 2, they put a brand new set of General Tire radials on there, and they went out and set their mock qualifying run, which ultimately got them the placement in the starting grid because qualifying was canceled.
Braden and Tift with a nice battle. That is a run for 5th. And I just happened to notice that Tom Hessert, who's 3rd in points, took his number 25 Cometic Toyota to the garage area. So some major adjustments going to happen for Hessert, and that's going to be a tough day in the points here at Michigan.
And the way this is laid out, we say you went to the garage area there. The garage area for the ARCA Racing Series with the Xfinity Series here and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series here. The haulers are not even in the infield. These teams are really based out of their pit boxes. So for Hessert to turn off behind the wall signals perhaps a DNF, one of the very few Tom Hessert's had in the ARCA Racing Series in quite some time.
The report we're getting is that he has an axle problem, so they will try to repair that and get him back out, but he'll be many, many laps down after going to the garage area.
Look at Travis Braden, bottom feeding down here in turns 3 and 4. Relentless on the bottom groove and making up some time here now. On the 55 of Dalton Sargent. He moved past Matt Tift, and now he's hunting him down in that West Virginia University number 01. Probably helps that he's got a tweet of good luck from West Virginia head coach of the basketball team, Bob Huggins, this week.
Nice. Very nice. That's our leader right there. That's Brandon Jones. He is way out front right now. We're going to have pit stops coming your way if we stay under green, so we need to get a short break in. Back after these messages right here on FS1. Welcome back to Michigan. Ray Dunlap along with Jim Trado. We've got Heather DeBow and Matt Yoakum covering the action in the pits today. 32 laps to go. Brandon Jones has been out front, but he last came to pit road on lap number 30. So we've got an eye on the gas can there. Those guys will be coming down shortly to make an adjustment. Now you see Dalton Sargent right there. He is in 4th place, but we continue to look at the fact that that brace is broken on the left rear quarter panel. And, Jim, let's look. He was right to the high side.
Just this moment in time. I don't think they even touched. But that was enough to upset the fender, how it lined up with the body with that small brace down here. We see that brace. But more importantly, look out the wind here. This is the pair right here. They are not even close to touching. But as they get closer, just enough to suck the air off. You see it flapping from just the sheer power of the wind between those two cars.
And we had so much to learn about aerodynamics of this composite body to figure out what these guys needed. Obviously, they want these cars to be as light as possible, and this is a battle for 4th right now as Weatherman is trying to go by. It looks like he has got the position.
Perseverance paying off for Weatherman, already down pit road more than he wanted to be. Great run. Great look out of this General Tire onboard camera as well for this 18-year-old out of Missouri.
Now, Jim, we have seen the 6, the Musselman's Applesauce Ford of Josh Williams down pit road 2 or 3 times here recently. They have got some kind of a problem. We mentioned that Tom Hessert has gone to the garage, so this could be an incredible day for Chase Briscoe. He's running 2nd right now, but remember, the points matter week in and week out, and right now Briscoe with a commanding spot as the points as they are now.
Williams 2nd in points, Hessert 3rd in points. There's owner standings as well. Leading those into this weekend, the 22 team of Cunningham Motorsports. They're already behind the wall. Huge day up top of the points in both categories.
Kyle Weatherman, our 4th place points runner, has worked his way up into the top 5, currently in 4th position. But remember, we've got more pit stops coming up. Crew chiefs are going to have to make some decisions here of how long can you go on the fuel run. Obviously, they're inside their window. If they pit now, they can make it to the end easily.
And Kyle Weatherman is one of those that has pitted later than these teams. So indeed, as he makes his way forward, very fast forward ahead of this pair of Toyotas. They made their way once again beyond that yellow and blue number 01 of Travis Braden. The old steel-bodied Chevrolet. I say the old body because that body's still allowed in the series, obviously, but the new composite bodies that 5-star stock car bodies have put together for this series, and the K&N platform is really, really performing well. They're here today, the 5-star folks. They've been helping the team, saying, brace it here, put more bracing there. The body is good, structural integrity is there, just a matter of bracing it on these high speeds, high loads.
Weatherman pitted on lap 43. Our top 3 runners pitted on lap 30. So if this thing stays green, those other guys are going to have to come down pit road under a green flag condition. That could really pay off for Weatherman. And the other 2 potential winners there are Krzyzewski and Boswell. Both of those guys also pitting on lap 43.
Benjamin had a really strong pit stop earlier. He actually drag raced, who then the race leader was Chase Briscoe off pit road. So if there comes down to pit stops, he's got a good team behind him. Very fast pit stop the first time for the 28.
Let's find out more about Benjamin. Let's go to the pit road and check in with Heather.
Ray, as you mentioned, a lot of discussion going on with teams and their crew chiefs on when to pit. As far as Kyle Benjamin goes, they're looking at lap 80. They've been asking if they think anyone else will make it on fuel. They said negative. Also, Kyle was asking, what do you think 2 tires reduce? So there's a lot of discussion on what exactly they're going to get done on this pit stop. They do know that if they want to make it on fuel, they need at least 5 seconds when they pit.
Thank you, Heather. That would be 50 laps. Now, remember, we did have 7 or 8 laps of caution in the middle there. So those crew chiefs and their assistants, they've got a lot more information than we do.
And to be completely honest with you, when I listen to the team radios on big tracks like this where they have NASCAR experienced spotters, I've heard the drivers say, how do I save fuel? What gear do I need to be in under caution? They're like, turn the engine off here now. Okay, now put it back in second gear. Fire the engine. Turn it off as soon as you get to speed with the pace car. They are being educated as they race. The benefit of being on a NASCAR's Brick Up Series track for the ARC Racing Series pays off more often than not when you tie in some NASCAR teams. And my goodness, the number 6 of Josh Williams now has put his Chevrolet behind the wall.
Josh Williams to the garage. What a tough situation for our top runners in the points so far, except for Briscoe, who continues to run second right now.
That may change his strategy. Why wait till lap 80 if I'm the point leader, knowing I'm going to have a big points day if I run top 5? Do I need the victory? Do I need the points? I need both. But boy, that big championship number can grow in the point gap. Why not pit now for that team?
Matt, what's going on with Josh Williams?
An issue similar to the 25 of Hessert. Something amiss in the rear end. They're not sure if it's a broken locker or something wrong in the rear end itself with an axle, but he's got a severe vibration on that 6. That's what his issue was.
Well, thank you, Matty. Here is Brandon Jones. He is picking them up and putting them down. Some very fast laps for that Menards and Valvoline Chevrolet. Brandon Jones already a 2-time winner in the ARCA Racing Series. His most recent win came at ORP in Indianapolis.
Brady Boswell, we talked about him being on pit road out of sequence. Well, maybe it was a plan, or it's working beautifully for this young man. Georgia short tracker getting a chance with Mason Mitchell Motorsports. Knew he had 4 or 5 races. Went to the short track in Toledo, kind of unexpected. Did well there. Come here, doing really well again in the car that he didn't have much laps in at Pocono last week before scoring a solid top 10 finish.
You know, Jim, I think your point about Briscoe and when to pit is very valid right now. Why in the world would those guys, Chad Bryant and them, roll any kind of dice right here? Why would you not pit now? What do you think, Matt?
The gas man sitting on the wall. The signboard is out. They've worked the fuel mileage calculation several times. Lap 78 is 79 is when they would like to hit pit road. They know they can go about that distance, which is a lap away. But the big question, what are they going to do? Fuel only, or will they take right side tires? That's going to be the question we're going to have to wait and see.
Well, the 8 will be coming in, I believe, either this lap or the next lap. And we also got to believe the 77 is on his way. And this is our leader, the Valvoline onboard of Brandon Jones, coming your way, Heather.
Yeah, as I said, there's a lot of different strategy going on right now. So Brandon Jones, because they have enough of a big lead, they're actually going to change 4 tires and top off the fuel. His teammate Kyle Benjamin, they're telling him not to do tires. Don't slide them when you come into the pit stop. And so we're looking for them to just get fuel only. Matt?
And they're waiting for the 77 to make his way down to his pit box, 10 stalls away. Now keep an eye on the 77 pit crew here. Easy in, going through the oil dry. Right side tires the call for Chase Briscoe in the 77. No chassis adjustment. Gas man disengaging. He stalls the car. He has stalled the car. The crew guy starting to bump start him. He's fired, and he's away.
Well, that is the second time that Chase Briscoe has stalled the car when they dropped it. The two-tire stop appeared like it was going to work out. He was going to have a very close battle off of pit road. And now the 28 is in of Kyle Benjamin. Back to Heather.
As I mentioned before, they were making emphasis. Do not slide the tires. Don't slide the tires. They just topped it off, and he's on his way.
28 goes with fuel only. He's still going to be 6, 7, 8 seconds behind those other guys, I believe.
Travis Braden also would know that to keep in mind. These young drivers have not been on speedways like this at these speeds. At Talladega Super Speedway this spring, 8 different drivers were caught for speeding on pit road, so that's all part of the process of learning here at the ARCA Racing Series for these teams and drivers.
We told you that Kyle Weatherman had a 13-lap differential, so he is staying out on the track, and he has taken that number 58 to the lead in the Corrigan Oil 200. Absolutely no reason for you to have your channel on anything but FS1 this weekend, because we also have the NHRA coming your way. It's the Summer Nationals from Englishtown, New Jersey. Coverage starts Sunday at 4:30. You can also watch it on Fox Sports Go. We've got hockey, we've got soccer, we've got baseball, we've got NHRA, we've got the Xfinity Series, we've got Sprint Cup, we've got ARCA, we've got it all. And we've got a new leader.
First time at the track, Kyle Weatherman, proving that pit strategy can play to your favor if you have a small issue. Get it right. Get it right. Unfortunately, not getting it right was Dalton Sargent coming on the pit road, Ray. Pit road speeding penalty, too fast entering.
We talk over and over about the lessons you have to learn. That's one that's tough. Dalton Sargent serving a penalty, and the 77 at Chase Briscoe 2 different times that he has stalled the car whenever they dropped it after a pit stop. We're on board with the Valvoline race car of Brandon Jones. These guys are having a great battle for third position right now with his teammate, the 28 of Kyle Benjamin.
Such a strong run. What a pleasant surprise to see a well-prepared team like MDM Racing with Hillman and Lauren Ranier, of course, being very involved in this whole process, getting these cars in the ARCA Racing Series prepared right. They are running extremely well. Marty Lindy and Mark McFarland call the race for the 28 of Kyle Benjamin, who, again, at 19 years of age, doesn't have a lot of big track experience. Really doing well here today.
How about that Torque Camry? More on that from Heather.
During the same pit sequence that Dalton Sargent came in, the 15 of Matt Tifft also came in as well. He was complaining that he had a vibration in the right front, so they did right side tires and 1 can of fuel. We'll keep an eye on him to see if that vibration has gone away.
Well, thank you, Heather. Let's go back to our strategies here. All of those guys coming to pit road around lap 80, so they've got all of their adjustments done. They're ready to go, but the question becomes, what about our front 2 runners? The 58 of Kyle Weatherman and the 52 of Matt Kurziewski. They both pitted last time on lap 43. Is there any way that they've had enough cautions they're going to try to go for it like Grant Enfinger did a week ago?
We had a few more cautions before lap 43 than we did after 43, so boy, it's really pushing it. And Weatherman's really mashing the gas pedal here, up to a 10-second lead now over Matt Kurziewski.
There's the 52 of Kurziewski. What's their story, Matt?
Working the numbers. They'd love to be able to go to the finish, but at this juncture, Ray, Donnie Richardson, the crew chief, has worked the numbers that they're going to have to pit in 1 or 2 laps with that 52.
Interesting. So, once again, Kurziewski, one of those guys that needs to think big picture and some points. He came in here 5th in points today. But we've already seen big problems for Tom Hessert and also for Josh Williams, our 2nd and 3rd place runner in the championship standings. That's the 28 of Kyle Benjamin. Benjamin running in 4th position. Back on board with the number 77 of Briscoe. That's our Scott brand products.
And that's Benjamin at the front windscreen. Look at his line in the corner. Listen to the gas pedal pick up here. Briscoe's on that gas pedal almost all the way around the racetrack, chasing down that position now. It's 5 points of position. A big day for Briscoe on hand here.
Nice run for Sarah Cornett-Ching in our Dickies on board. That 2 car up into 6th position. Now, remember, she last pitted on lap 39, so another run to pit road for Sarah before this race is over. But nice job today as
and give credit to that team. They had to rebuild the race car. They had to change the front clip on the car from a practice crash at Pocono. Intended on racing there. Had to fix this race car to get ready for Michigan instead.
Matt, what are they doing in the 52 pits?
A clean windshield and 5 seconds of fuel for the 52.
Well, that was a pretty simple deal. So Matt Krzyzewski gave up 5th place on the track to roll down to get that little bit of fuel to get him to push to the end. And there is Travis Braden once again in a steel-bodied car. Braden running in 7th spot right now, and remember, he's already completed his pit stops at lap number 80.
And consider the data. There's a lot more in the notebook on these steel body cars. These cars raced in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, NASCAR Xfinity Series, 110-inch, 105-inch wheelbases. Many of these chassis that now have composite bodies on them are still from that era. They're not all brand new chassis underneath. So Braden's got a lot of notebooks that are working to his benefit here in that 0-1.
There goes the big-time Ford of Chase Briscoe. He's going to take a spot away from Kyle Benjamin. He goes from 4th into 3rd position as they come down the front straightaway. We are inside of 10 laps to go today here in the Michigan 200.
Just another reason why to root on this kid from Mitchell, Indiana. Chase Briscoe in contention once again late in the race. Last week at Pocono had that alternator wire issue preventing a top 10 finish, or top 5 finish, excuse me. He's only had one hiccup other than that, and that's when he had a bad pit stop at Salem Speedway to really rob the victory of that young man. So as he's racing here, it just seems to be this kid's talent is matching the preparation. And Cunningham Motorsports now working outside of both cars here. Now it's split in the middle down the front stretch.
Wow, some really good stuff there from the 77 as he's going to go by Shane Lee in the Lee Boy car. That is a Toyota also. And Jim, guess what? We talked about 7 different winners coming into today. It's going to be 8, I can guarantee it.
Boy, I don't know the way we're looking at this stuff. It's playing out. Kyle Weatherman's leading this race by 5.72 seconds. It was 10 at one point, but Brandon Jones has cut into that lead. Either one of those drivers will take a victory. Brandon actually won 2 ARCA races a couple years ago in his very first start and second start.
I know, but I'm talking about 2016. We've had 7 races, 7 different winners, and I guarantee you we'll have 8. Here's a look at our General Tire race summary so far. 6 lead changes today. Only 2 cautions for 12 laps. We had the number 14 had a tire problem early on. That was at lap 30, and then Myatt Snyder in the number 22 Louisiana Hot Sauce car crashed in the corner. 2 cautions today at Michigan, and we've got about 6 laps to go.
I like how you do your math, Ray. I looked at the rundown here on our scoring monitors. None of the top 10 drivers have won an ARCA race this year. Right. So that's a good choice on your part. But this Weatherman kid, Matt, I tell you what, he's really coming strong.
He's done an impressive job behind the wheel of the race car. And then when you look at what he's done today, trying to inch that 58 closer to victory lane, they, at this point, they're within a 2-lap window of either making it or running it out of fuel. They don't know how much fuel he has saved at this point. Pins and needles, they're rolling the dice. They're going to try to go the distance.
They're one of the last teams to lead the garage as well. That's Sam Schramm, the crew chief, talking things over, wants to make sure that team has it right. Kyle Weatherman very involved mechanically on this car as well.
He said, how much fuel did you get in there?
Tell me to my face. Let me look into your eyes. You telling me the goods? Are we good?
You know, we talked about Briscoe. You know, they couldn't gamble as the point leader. But remember, Weatherman came in here 4th in points. So obviously they want to get the win. But with Hessard and the number 6 of Josh Williams having problems today, boy, I don't know. That's a tough call. Do you stay out and go for it?
Cal's got a pair of top 3 finishes of this season, but he struggled at Pocono last week, so this will be a big rebound for that team. Risk is in capital letters for this team. They are breathing on occasion. You see Sam with a big inhale. Who knows when he'll exhale here on the pit box.
I'll tell you, these crew chiefs have to make those calls. And now it sounds...
You hear it? I heard it going by.
Matt, what's going on?
He was wiggling it, trying to get as much fuel to the pickup. It is out of fuel. The 58 of Kyle Weatherman, they rolled the dice. It's not going to work for them today. They've lost the lead and the race with 4 laps to go.
And obviously that never happens when you're coming out of turn number 3 with a shot to roll to the pits. They just came by the start-finish line when they ran out. Weatherman may not even make it back to the pit area, and that could pull out a caution here. We'll see if he's able to keep that car rolling. But Brandon Jones right now trying to close the gap, and actually he becomes our leader as Weatherman runs out of fuel.
Well, we talked about strategy and how depth and the benefits play for Brandon Jones. You just saw Mike Hillman Jr. there, his crew chief for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, helping this team just really do everything they could. He was actually under the car yesterday, under the hood, looking things over, making sure Brandon had what he could do to prepare here for this race. Hillman Racing involved in this effort with Lauren Renier and MDM.
Boy, again, the tough call. Do you go for the victory or do you try to have a nice, steady points day? They rolled the dice from Lyra Motorsports, and it appears that Weatherman will make it back on pit road, but he's got a long way to go to get his box, and this race is probably going to be over by the time they get that thing fueled and back onto the racetrack. So he's going to give up the lead and finish somewhere probably back around 17th.
And to further Brandon Jones' lead here, now 6 seconds over our point leader, Chase Briscoe. I want to point out the fact that Brandon came to this team saying, I want to run some ARCA races. I want to get some experience. Richard Childress Racing won a championship here just a few years ago with Ty Dillon, but they sold that equipment. They're out of the ARCA Racing Series altogether. So he looked around and said, Marty Lindley, Mark McFarland going over to that team. I know what they do on the race cars. I want to work with that team.
So Brandon Jones now with the white flag out here at Michigan. He's a two-time winner in the ARCA Racing Series, and right now all he's got to do is ease it around. A 6-second differential between him and Chase Briscoe. This one should be in the bag for the driver of the Valvoline Chevrolet.
Yogi Berra's phrase, it's never over till it's over. We thought Kyle Weatherman had the strategy to win this race. Yeah, Jones has the speed now to turn 3 and 4.
Weatherman gambled today. It did not pay off, and he ran out of fuel. But Brandon Jones had plenty. From Atlanta, Georgia, your winner today here in Michigan is Brandon Jones in car number 8.
Great run by Brandon Jones. Had a fast car, improved it with little changes all weekend. Point leader, Chase Briscoe comes home P2.
Picks up his 3rd win, and we'll hear from him when we come back to the Michigan International Speedway. Absolutely perfect fuel strategy today for the number 8. That is Brandon Jones driving the Menards and Valvoline Chevrolet. And for the 3rd time in his career, he is a winner in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Mike Hillman Jr. celebrating with the crew down there, and they will go to victory lane. We got to hear from the guy who finished 2nd first. He's standing by with Matt Yoakum.
A lot to digest from the stay here at the Michigan International Speedway for Chase Briscoe. So what do you take away most? You had a fantastic run, but also the guys you're battling with in the points, they didn't have as great a day as you did.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a great overall points day. Obviously, you want to win, and just can't thank Briggs Cunningham big time enough. Last year I was just volunteering my time and coming and helping him at the shop, and we're leading the points and, running good, so it always makes it nice. And just luckily the General Tires held on good that grip all day, but yeah, definitely want to win one, that's for sure.
Very close for the 77. Now let's go to Heather DeBow.
Brandon Jones picking up win number 3 here in the ARCA Series. Going to give him a minute to get out of his car and celebrate here. Nice Gatorade bath for Brandon. Brandon, you picked up the win. You're pulling double duty this weekend. How was the race for you, and do you think you learned enough to take into tomorrow's Xfinity race?
I think so, for sure. This Menards Valvoline Chevy was just so awesome all week long. Kind of got a little worried there at the end. I didn't know if the 52 or 58 can make it there on fuel or not. But obviously, they failed to do that, and we came out on top. So all in all, awesome job by Renier racing, and looking forward to getting to the next one.
Congratulations, Brandon.
Thank you.
Heck of a race, guys.
Thank you, Heather. Big day for Brandon Jones as he gets the accolades down in our Gatorade victory lane. We'll hear from more of the drivers and show you the finishing order of today's Michigan ARCA 200 when we come back.
How's it going? Hi.
8 races this season in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards, and 8 different winners. And look at this parity we had in the top 5. Chevrolet, Ford, Dodge, and Toyota all represented. Great run today for Travis Braden with a very small crew. He brings home a top 5, but we want to hear from the guy who finished 3rd today. That's Kyle Benjamin, and he's standing by with Matt Yoakum.
Great day for Renier Racing, a 1-3 finish. But when you look at today, what stands out to you most? What are you most pleased about your performance?
I'm pretty pleased that we completed all the laps. That's what we came here to do. The series is really about getting experience. I feel like we did that today. I had a really good car. First off, congratulations to my teammate on getting the win. That's pretty cool. It's our first win in the ARCA series, so really proud of all the guys on that team. And I'd like to thank Fever for coming on board this whole season, really. We've had a strong car with them, and actually Bill Rasmussen getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame, this year is pretty cool too. But we'll try to get him next time.
Impressive day for Kyle Benjamin, third here in the Irish Hills.
Well, thank you, Matty. That was a good run for that team for sure. You can't do much better than first and third. Chase Briscoe finishes second today, and he will have a commanding lead in the points. We'll have more coming your way from ARCA at Michigan after a short break. Big thanks to Corrigan Oil sponsoring our 200-miler today here. Brandon Jones with all the celebration going on in Victory Lane. Kyle Weatherman was our General Tire driver profile earlier today, and he gambled a bit today. It didn't work out. Let's hear from him and Matt Yoakum.
Put on a show earlier on when he had that electrical issue with the coil. Lost a lap, bounced back, and you threw your hat in the ring for a chance to win this. Did it stumble a few times and then go, or did it just go?
Yeah, unfortunately, it started stumbling actually 2 laps before we actually ran out. So it was unfortunate. We had a lot of issues. Unfortunately, we had a coil wire go out early, and we came down pit road and got that fixed, got our lap back, and had a really good race car. It's very unfortunate that we came short, but we had a fast race car. Everyone knows it, and I can't thank everybody enough. Leader Motorsports, Roush Fenway Racing for everything they do. Without them, and my whole family and Carlisle McNair and everybody at home that's watching, I appreciate all your guys' support, and we'll be back next time.
Thanks, Kyle. Ray.
Well, thank you, Matty. A third at Daytona and a third at Toledo has kept him in the running, but today Kyle Weatherman will finish 12th after they gambled on that fuel mileage.
And you can see that young man's determination. That's why he is a Roush Fenway Racing development driver. That young man's got the perseverance. Great team built around him. They went for it, just a little bit short today.
A lot of folks celebrating in West Virginia. Another great run for Travis Braden. He's with Matt.
Travis Braden brought home his steel body car to the 4th position. What a great run for you and your team today.
Oh, yeah, fantastic run. Tony Furr made a great call to pit when we did there. We couldn't make it on less than 2 stops. Our fuel cell just wouldn't quite take the amount of fuel we needed to make it on one. So he played it perfectly with the timing of the pit stop there, and worked out for a 4th place finish. I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank West Virginia University for being on this car for us for 3 or 4 years now, since I started college, my 2nd semester. Been fantastic to us. We got Platinum Express that's been helping us so much with the late model program and this as well, and a number of other sponsors, Little General Stores, West Banco, JRI, Kolb Excavating, Stony Hollow Tire. These guys have done a fantastic job for us, getting us here, and it's been fun.
Total team effort on the 01.
Thank you, Matty. I think he got all his sponsors in. We saw Tony Furr back there. And get this, the engine, the Ilmore engine that was in that 01, the exact same one he won with at Indianapolis, brings it here to Michigan and gets a top 5. That's pretty cool.
There are drivers that have engines that have been racing all season long at Daytona, Talladega, Salem, Nashville. They have the same motor. This Ilmore program with ARCA Ilmore 396 is really, really a strong piece. Affordable, powerful, and we'll see him next at Madison International Speedway next weekend in Wisconsin.
And then off to Winchester. We'll be back at the Iowa Speedway July 9th. That's on FS2. And then we're off to Indianapolis and Pocono, the most diverse schedule in all of motorsports. They run on the mile dirts, they run on the road course, short tracks, and big tracks. The ARCA Racing Series, presented by Menards, gives these young drivers a great opportunity. And this driver here that's celebrating in Victory Lane has his 3rd win now in the ARCA Racing Series as he's full-time in NASCAR's Xfinity division.
That's a big help for him. Tomorrow he's racing on a track. He knows what's going to happen. He knows he's got the confidence in the car. His crew chief for tomorrow was here today helping in every way possible. What a great, great idea running the ARCA Racing Series for Brandon Jones to back up that double weekend a weekend ago. And by the way, when he comes back to ARCA this year, it'll be double dip weekends to help in his NASCAR efforts as well.
It's so interesting to see the diversity of our drivers here today, Jim. We saw in that top 5 4 different manufacturers. We've got some steel body cars that ran well today, including Travis Braden. But this composite body from 5-star and the Ilmore engine package has changed the face of ARCA.
Proof positive, and again, a great run by a number of teams that struggled early in the race, struggled at Pocono last week, made big gains here. they're ready for the next time we come to a big track like Michigan.
We had 14 wins in the field today. Wasn't very many compared to what we normally have, but that was 8 different drivers representing trips to victory lane. Brandon Jones makes it back there today.
Great run by Brandon Jones. We'll see how they do on the short tracks in Wisconsin and Indiana in the next couple of weeks.
Great job from our crew today. I want to thank our director, Jeremy Green, and our producer, Kara Lagana, all the great cameramen that have worked here at Michigan International Speedway today. Also, a big thanks to our pit reporters today. Matt Yoakum and Heather DeBow had the action covered down there. It was an interesting day as we had some strategy. It didn't work out for Kyle Weatherman as he and his crew chief gambled on fuel and came up a couple of laps short. But as he said, everybody knew he was there today. For Jim Trado, I'm Ray Dunlap. Thanks for joining us today. The ARCA Racing Series has had 8 races, and guess what? We've had 8 different winners.